Leo and Dr. Kuem. It's been a really nice data that what you have provided. And hello, everyone. Uh, Good day here in Spain, good afternoon or good evening in Korea. I'm Juan Tamargo, and I'm the managing partner and co-founder of the T Agency, which is a boutique business development and representation agency, working with game developers mostly, and pretty much helping bridge the gap between developers, publishers, investors, and other industry makers, pretty much facilitating them establishing deals, okay, to fund their projects and to sell and publish their projects. I have more than 25 years in the game industry, and I'm actually honored to give you this talk, trying to give a glimpse about the Spanish video games scene, and to pretty much show the huge potential there is in our country, as I have had the opportunity to know and live firsthand the evolution of this industry along these years. Okay. So I said, the main audience I'm not is in this webinar guys from Spain. So probably you will see that all the information here is known to some extent by you, but definitely this is more intended for our Korean colleagues, so they get to know a bit about our industry. So I definitely would like to showcase some examples and some data to give you an understanding of its origin and evolution and the opportunities that our market implies to invest because of its tradition, talent, and especially because of its current economic and development context. So actually in Spain is quite well known abroad for the three Fs, okay, which stand for football, food, and fashion, okay. Uh, but I would like to speak about the three T's of the Spanish games industry, which actually stand for tradition in developing games, actually, teams because of the companies creating such games, and talent because of the entities that are nurturing and feeding these teams. Okay, so yeah, speaking of tradition, there's been a long tradition in about making games in Spain. As a quick example, Boogaboo, The Flea was the very first game developed ever in Spain back in 1983. For the this was during the 8-bit era, like the Spectrum, the Amstrad, the Commodore, and MSX. And this game was you assumed the role of a flea and had to basically jump, surpassing obstacles to get out of a cave. Okay. Um, during this, sorry, during this what we call here in Spain the golden age of Spanish video games, and that lasted between 1994 to 1991. There were actually quite a few excellent development companies and some publishers. But during that age, for instance, was also the development and release of Game Over, which was actually the first Spanish video game that became a #1 selling a game abroad. And some other companies that existed during these times were Made in Spain, OperaSoft, Toposoft, Dynamic, or Arby. But the fun fact is that most of the games that have been developed in Spain, even though they along the years they become some of them they have become like the cornerstone of some of the genres in the video games. Um, they are not known abroad as being developed in Spain. Okay, so everybody thinks that they were developed in UK or US or elsewhere. Okay, so this is why I like to say that Spain, at least till recently, has been the great unknown abroad. Okay, because probably I wonder if any of you know of these companies. Definitely for the Spanish audience, they probably know many of them. But for those of you outside of Spain, probably none of them ring your bell, or maybe a few of them that are like more recent. But just go very quickly over some of these. For instance, Dynamic Multimedia was the company that developed a game called PC Football back in 1992 already. That existed year after year, or that got released year after year. This was one of the very first soccer managers ever made in the world, actually. That game that gave birth to the genre. Uh, this game back in 1999 was the best-selling game in Spain, selling over 500,000 copies just in the country. But this game was also released in Italy, in Germany, and UK under the names of Premier Manager, or the PC Bundesliga, or PC Calcio. Another uh, quite well-known game made in Spain is Commandos, which gave birth to the Commando saga from Paddle Studios. That started in 1998, and that also gave birth to a subgenre of the real-time strategy genre, which was the tactical real-time strategy. This was a game set in World War II, where you had to manage a set of commandos to defeat the Nazis' forces. Okay. Fun fact about this game is that it was published by Eidos Interactive. That back at the time they decided to license the game as a catalog filler, so they didn't really believe in the game. But unexpectedly, the game became a worldwide number hit across different countries. Another unknown from Spain is Virtual Toys. This was also a company that was quite successful in Spain. Was a team that had a size of over 150 sorry, 150 people, and that made games like Rafael Nadal Tennis, the very first game ever made based on this great sport and tennis player. They were also responsible for the development of the Imagine Fashion, the Imagine series, which included Imagine Fashion Designer, Imagine being a pet bed, and so forth, which was published by Ubisoft, and that in 2009 actually represented like 10% of all Ubisoft sales, which is a quite surprising fact. Also, a game like Cars from Pixar was the PSP version. Sony PSP version of this game was developed by Virtual Toys, and it made over 1 million copies by the end of the PSP lifespan. Yet another significant company from Spain is Novorama, which was one of the first companies to make augmented reality games for the PSP back in 2009. Invisimals was such a game that had different iterations over the years, and it was published by Sony and became a major hit for the PSP and PS Vita. Another, maybe now more familiar, also like Novorama, is Mercury Steam, which has been responsible for the revamp of the Castlevania series from Konami, bringing that character and the universe to 3D, mixing classics like Metroidvania elements with the Castlevania elements with hack and slash mechanics. And more recently, they've been also responsible for the development of Metroid Dread, which has been a #1 selling game on the Nintendo Switch. Another significant company is Digital Legends, which back in the days used to did develop some remarkable games for platforms such as the Nokia Engage, like the one, or Crawl, which was actually one of the very first games ever made for the iPhone, for the very first iPhone 3G that was even showcased and presented by Steve Jobs on its World Developers Conference keynote back in 2008. They've been also responsible for the development of Respawnables, and more recently the Battlefield Bad Company, the mobile version. And yet, a very last sample of a significant studio from Spain is Tequila Works, which very first game was Deadlight, which was actually published by Microsoft back in that time. And then Rhyme was the probably the game that became more popular from this studio. It was their second title. It was a puzzle and platform narrative adventure that took you in a very emotional and artsy journey. This was actually the very first Spanish video game to be featured on the Edge magazine, which is a very well-known and reputed magazine from UK. More recently, actually, they've been responsible for the creation of a Song of Nunu, which is a new game based on the League of Legends universe, and recently published by Riot Games itself. But well, that's the past. Okay. Now let me quickly show you a glimpse of some of the recent and excellent games being developed in Spain. And I don't know if that it will work. Hope so, but please me know if it doesn't. Okay. Well, as you can see, the video game sector in Spain is evolving nicely. Um, but well, that was a tradition. Okay, now let's speak about teams very briefly. So as you can see, as you have seen, it's been tradition creating games in our country, but there are as well great teams, a couple of great games that are becoming known worldwide. Okay, and every year there are more experienced, successful teams in Spain, and in fact, Spain is becoming a destination place for bringing international players such as eSports, well, Electronic Arts, King, Scopely, Saber, Ubisoft, or Gameloft, and these are just to name a very few. Okay, some of these companies are coming to the country and establishing their headquarters or affiliates, and there are also other big players from the industry like Tencent, Meta, 2K, Activision, Thunderful, that have actually stepped into the country, acquiring some of the local studios, like Tequila, actually, that got acquired by Tencent recently. Meta, that purchased Playgiga for their cloud gaming platform. 2K acquired Elite 3D, which was a 3D animation outsourcing a company. Also, Activision acquired Digital Legends, Scopely, Omnidrone, and Genera, and for the full Stage Clear Studios. And these, again, these are just a few examples. But furthermore, other entities like these ones, like MGVC or Garena, Nordics Film, GameSphere, Tencent Games, have actually invested in some of the local studios, like the Bridge Studios, Unusual, Interworks, Mercury Steam, and Novaram. And other specialized investors like Joystick Ventures, Games Fund, Play Ventures, Bitcraft, Column Knights Fund, or the Makers Fund are actually scouting for opportunities in Spain. Trying to take advantage of the great situation that our country is living and the great time that we have in our country. But definitely there are way many more studios in Spain. Actually, there are 100 of different companies. I could not go over all of them, but just to give you some figures, along 2022, 445 incorporated studios or legally established studios are based in Spain. and yet another 315 development teams. These are considered to be smaller studios that have not yet been established as a company. But also some other, well, sorry, was considering numbers about the Spanish industry. Well, out of these 445 incorporated companies, you can see that those that have more than 10 years old, okay, 25% of them, whereas between 5 to 10 years, there's a 40%. The rest are companies that have less than 5 years, okay. Also worth mentioning about the physical distribution or geographical distribution of these companies or these studios, being Madrid and Catalonia like the main hubs with a split of 25% around approximately, followed by Andalusia, which currently represents 15%, and then Valencia, the 9%. Another 25% goes to different regions like Galicia, the Basque Country, and other smaller regions. Okay, but as said, the main hubs are definitely Catalonia and Madrid, followed by Andalusia and Valencia. These are some figures in regards to the number of employees and per year and its growth over the years in the sector in terms of qualified professionals. Okay, which in this last year, in 2022, reached near 10,000 employees, and around 11,000 employees are expected for this 2023, and up to 30,287 for the 2025. Also, here you can see some of the turnover figures from the Spanish game development studios that goes from 2021 up to the forecast of 2025. Okay, but as you can see, there is a very nice growth over the years. And well, these are some other quick examples of some quick data about how the games, the Spanish video games industry. Actually, worth mentioning that Spain is currently the 5th largest video game market in Europe. Normally is between Italy and Spain. Depending on the year, Spain goes first or after Italy. And is currently the 13th market in the world. Okay. There are over 1,000 games released every year. Okay. 94% of the companies in Spain are developing their own unique creations, their own IPs. Around 41% of these provide outsourcing services, and 100% of all production is exported. Okay, actually the main export regions are North America with around 31%, followed by the rest of Europe, and then 8% for Asia Pacific, followed by Latin America and Middle East and Africa. Okay, so we talked about tradition, we talked about teams, but I think it's also time to talk about talent, because we are in an industry that requires a highly demanding, because of the growing sector, is requiring of talent. Okay, but luckily, I'm sorry. Luckily, in Spain, we come with a great number of formative centers that go from private to public institutions like universities and so forth. But let's say that almost all the Spanish universities at the moment are providing some sort of video game related education program in the shape of master degrees or graduate programs. Okay, so there's like a wide offering of public and private courses. Also, we have a quite nice and growing setting for incubators and accelerators. Okay, like Game BCN, Level Up, Game Dev Hub, the PlayStation Talents, Free to Play Campus, more recently the Madrid Game Cluster. Okay, so these are just a few examples again. Also, we have the two main industry associations. There are also a few other ones. Okay, but these, let's say, are like the very main ones are AEVI, which is the Spanish Association of Video Games, that represents mostly publishers, but also game creators. Okay, and then there is DEF, which is the Spanish Video Game Developer Association, representing only game studios. Okay, At these URLs, you might find actually very interesting studies and market researches for free. I definitely encourage you to visit those sites because you'll find very handy information if you want to further expand. Also, was mentioned that we have currently a very nice institutional support through entities like ENISA or the ICO or the CREA SGR, which are providing only soft loans and grants, okay, also from CEDETI and GRADE program. Also worth mentioning that at present time, the Spanish government is promoting the Spain Audiovisual Hub, which intends to push, promote, and incentivize the sector, the whole audiovisual sector, but also that includes the video games industry. And this is a transversal initiative that is implying several ministries like the Ministry of Industry, Economy, and Education. And their main goal is to increase by 30% the production of contents by 2025, investing with a plan to invest 1.6 billion, 1.6 billion euros along these years. Okay. Also worth mentioning that we have a very nice tax credits given in some of the regions. Well, at a national level, we have for innovation and research and development up to 12% and 25% respectively. But that, as you can see, in Navarra and Canary Islands can go to up to 45%. Okay, and these are awesome incentives to help companies come invest to Spain. And well, that was about it. Thank you.